Dangerously Incompetent spends a fortune against the Gronch. A Crossout video by, guess who? I've previously played Sinus builds in Snowstorm, and I found they did very little against the bosses. And I think I need something with a bit more oomph, does a bit more burst damage. And I thought, oh, let's try, I haven't played Fortunes in a while, let's try some Fortunes, shall we? Because they do a big burst of damage, because you can shoot off 3 bouncy wheels of explosionness, you can mount 2. And yeah, that's it. And if they all go bouncing into the same place, they do a lot of damage. Plus, you can use them as mine layers. You fire them off and they bounce around the landscape until they come to a stop, and then they sit there for 5-10 seconds. So I could mine the doors that the raiders pop out of. Yeah, that's a plan. Let's make a fortune build, I thought. Well, I already had the fortunes. Well, I already had one, and I had the resources to make the second, so I didn't really spend a fortune. But then these big rams I'm driving around on, they're fused. I fused them, and that cost like 2,500 coins, so maybe I did spend a fortune after all. Either way, here's how a fortune build fares in Snowstorm. In a random team where all the players actually wanted to go to level 10 for once. I've got so many battles. Oh, I'm going to level 10. Oh, okay. Going to level 10. And then there's one battle that really frustrated me. Driving around, fighting away, I'm feeling really hard pressed, and then suddenly the other team members are ramming me and pushing me around. It took me a while to work out what was going on, because they were speaking in Russian, and nowhere in the chat did they type the words, the characters 1 and 0, which would clue me in that they only wanted to go to level 10. But that annoyed me so much I just carried on playing and got to level 15 with just me shooting the raiders, and my team members trying to get in the way. So I'm right for not having the courtesy to tell me they only wanted to go to level 10. One issue with the fortunes is that they are a limited traverse weapon. They only turn a little bit side to side, so you often have to turn the whole vehicle in order to get a firing solution. So it's a good idea to put them on a build that can turn on the spot easily, and that's legs. Legs are good for that, but mechanical legs are really slow. They're a lot slower than the truck. You can't keep up with mechanical legs. But on the other hand, big rams, which is what I used, have 2 modes. They have a walking around mode, which helps you with your firing solutions, and then they have driving around mode, where the wheels start rolling, and when the wheels are rolling, you can get up to 75 kilometers an hour. Yeah, and then I put an omnibox cabin in, because that's got an engine mode which increases your speed, so I can get up to 80 kilometers an hour. Well, and that's enough to keep up with the truck and get ahead of the truck, as you can see here. And then when I get to a fight, turn back into walkie mode, and then I can turn. Oh, and put the omnibox into weapon mode and increase my reload speed. Marvellous. I've also got a Colossus on. That's more speed and more power for easy turning, and then extra more reload speed, all to bump up that time, well, reduce the time I'm sitting there reloading. Another issue with the fortunes is the rather limited ammo count, which can be a problem when you're in a really long battle like this and there's waves and waves of enemies to destroy. But there's an easy solution. I put in 2 upgraded, expanded ammo packs and bumped my maximum ammo count up to 55, so I can blaze away for quite some time before I run out. Although in between waves it's a very good idea to run around like a mad thing trying to pick up ammo boxes. Keep my ammo count high so I don't run out in the clutch. Yet another issue with the fortunes is it's tricky to hit small, fast moving, agile targets, like most of the raiders you meet in Snowstorm. It's between, you only get to shoot 3 in a bunch, and then there's a gap between reloading, and they bounce around. You fire them in an arc. They're not direct fire. They're limited traverse as well, so you've got to move the whole build around to get someone who's driving around you. And they don't shoot down, which makes it impossible for me to shoot raiders that are right in front of me, since I've got them mounted quite high up. To help with those issues, I put in a cap can. You see me drop one there, and now when enemies ram me or get so close, I just drop the cap can, go backwards. It's easy because I'm walking, and then they're hooked, and then I can get them the fortunes to bear on the enemy, and they're easy to hit because they're not moving very fast anymore because they're hooked on a cap can. It also makes it very easy for my allies to shoot them, which is nice, except when they go for the one that's hooked, which has lost most of its weapons, only got a machine gun left, and they ignore the cannon one that's booming away at people and doing loads of damage. The other thing the cap can's good for is for hooking the melee build, the raiders with melee builds, because if they get to the truck, they can do an awful lot of damage really quickly. And there's bunches of fuse bots running around in later waves. Cap cans are good for them because they just zoom around, hooked, right? Now I can just walk off, and eventually the fuse bot times out and goes boom and doesn't do any damage to me, my allies, or the truck. For all those parts, the fortunes and the cap can and the engine, need one more energy than the Omnibox can provide, so there's the 1-point generator tucked in there, well, hidden between these really tough expanded ammo crates and ammo packs and the Omnibox and the engine, but it still gets blown up by big cannon shells, such as what the Gronch uses. Add a reasonable amount of durability. It's just under 1700 durability, that'll do, and that got me to 10,000 power score, which is the maximum you can have in Snowstorm. Aha! Here comes Max, here comes the boss. Let's see how this build, which I made for going against bosses, does against the boss. Except I'm ignoring Max and I'm shooting the small raiders. Why is that? Well, the bosses in Snowstorm attack the players first, and once all the players are dead, then they go attack the truck and destroy the truck. And remember, your truck is what you're trying to keep alive. It's delivering the present, so you've got to keep it through. It doesn't matter how many times I or the rest of the players die or get destroyed, it doesn't matter at all, just as long as the truck's up. And the small raiders, though, they'll shoot the truck before they shoot the players. So if all the players go and shoot the boss, it leaves the small raiders free to pummel the truck into oblivion, and it can lose an awful lot of health really quickly. Despite them being small, there's lots of them, and some of them have got melee weapons on, and if they get to the truck, yay, you lose a lot of truck health really quickly. So that's why I shot up the raiders before I shot up the boss. Oh, would you look at that. Whilst I've been covering the tactics, the boss fight is almost over. Well, I've been done, and here goes Max. So let's watch it again, and this time concentrate on how my build does. So here comes Max, and I'm piling a bit of damage. And if you watch carefully, you'll notice the other players are shooting up the raiders as well, and Max is driving around trying to get to them. But when my allies are shooting Max, they're not doing an awful lot of damage. The bulk of the damage is being done by my fortunes, because they got big explosions one after the other in the same sort of area, get through to the vulnerables and pile in the damage. Also, once Max starts concentrating, well, is caught up and concentrates on a particular player, that player doesn't last long. Max is all about the short range. He's got harvesters, he's got shotguns, so you don't want to be close and you don't want to be facing his front, because you die really quick doing that. And this build is good for avoiding his front. I can walk, I can go sideways, I can use the landscape to help avoid him, because he has to go round it, I can go round it, he has to steer, whereas I can go sideways. He also avoids the cap can, so if you drop a cap can, he'll drive around that, which means his front isn't pointing towards you, and you can survive a little bit longer. So you can see that I've survived for long enough for all my allies to respawn, and I've done the bulk of the damage on him, left him with a sliver of health, and making it easy enough for the other players to finish him off. So I think this build does reasonably well against the bosses, and it does okay against the raiders, so I'm going to count it as a success. The build does what I intended it to do. It's effective against the bosses. If you want to try this build for yourself, I've put it in the exhibition, the name's in the description. Whilst the truck is driving between the depot and the tree, you get 2 waves of raiders, and in each wave there's a lance build. Do not let that lance build hit the truck, it's a lot of damage. You can see I've got ahead of the truck and I've come to intercept the lance build, and here it comes, and Norbuk there has done exactly the right thing. He's taken the hit, he's absorbed all the damage from the lances. It would be better if we could have killed him before he got hit, but he stopped the lance build hitting the truck, and that's the main thing. And ow, there's my engine gone and my generator's on fire. I got, ooh, who was that? Oh, that was the mini boss that guards the minigun. Kill the mini boss and pick up his presents, and you put a minigun on the truck. Is it worth it? It's a toss up. Well, if 2 of us could go and go get him, so Norbuk and me are off, the other 2 guys are with the truck, so that's alright. Except it isn't. They've decided to come join in the fun, and they've left the truck alone. You can't leave the truck alone. There's another lance build coming. Oh, he's missed. He missed the truck. Well, you got lucky then. And then my volley of fortunes has stripped him of his lances. We were lucky then. That was a mistake by the team. Never leave the truck all on its own. You can go get the bonuses, the extra health. You can see at the bottom of the map. You can get the minigun, which you might now be able to see on top of the truck. But don't do it out, or you can go get the force field. But don't go get them at the expense of leaving the truck alone, because another wave of raiders will come along and wreck it whilst you're all off busy getting a bonus. Let's skip forward to wave 19, to the next boss, because if we go through all the waves of raiders, this video is going to be 50 minutes long. I don't want that, and I don't think you do either. So who's the next boss? Bob. It's Bob Frost. Now Bob's less of your boss and more of your shadowy mastermind who sends forth his fuse drone carriers to do battle with you. And I did want to show the fuse drones getting caught on the cap cans, but the carriers mostly got destroyed before they released the drones, so I can't. So boring. Let's skip ahead to the next boss, which is Scrooge, and he's a total boss. Scrooge makes his appearance on wave 25, and he's got some big old cannon on there, but he's on a hover build, and that makes him a bit more vulnerable. And as before, got to get rid of the raiders first, otherwise it's goodbye truck. And you can see when I get my whole volley in, the small raiders don't stand much of a chance, do they? But I've got to hit them and get all my volley in. This time my teammates do a bit better against the boss build. They heat him up nicely and then get to his vulnerables, and he's crippled. And an easy kill. So I don't have to do much work at all, really. Not against Scrooge, so it wasn't much of a test. But by wave 25 you can see our truck is starting to suffer a bit. It's like 33% of its health left. Can we get to the Gronch? Skipping ahead 5 waves, you can see our truck's suffering even more, down to 23% of its original durability. At this point 2 of the players decide to run off and get the health power up, which would give it another 10% back. But first they got to kill the boss, so it's going to take them time. They're going to get damaged and they'll be way behind. So if we move the truck ahead at its normal speed, there'll only be 2 of us dealing with these waves, well, the 2 waves of raiders you get on the journey. And that's a bit risky, I think. It's so easy to lose more health than you gain by going after the power-ups. But they've got the power up and the truck's up to 33%. We should last a bit longer. Now to slow the truck down, all you need to do is be just in front of it. And when you do that, it'll sound its horn and slow right down. The other way of slowing it down, of course, is to have no one near the truck. But that's a bit faster. So I decided to sit in front of the truck, slow it right down, and give the other two players who've died or been destroyed or self-destructed after being damaged by fighting the health power-up mini-boss. And one's respawned. He seems to be fighting that wave with the Lancer. Do I go forward or do I still slow the truck down? Oh, here's the fourth player respawned. Yeah, we can move forward now. We're all here. Well, apart from one guy who's gone right ahead. We've skipped ahead to wave 40, where the Gronch puts in his appearance. And our truck's been ground down to 16% of its durability, and there's still the little raiders running around, and they'll wreck the truck if we don't finish them off. And oof, that was the Mastodon from the Gronch. Done me a pile of damage, knocked half my health off, and heated me up, and left me utterly vulnerable for one of the little raiders to finish me off. Oh. But there's the Gronch. Look, we can see the Gronch. I didn't get to shoot at him, and everyone else is dead as well. All the other players have been destroyed, and the Gronch wins again. Drat. He's a hard fight, is the Gronch. There's only a couple of days left to Snowstorm. I doubt I'll do another Snowstorm video. But there's always next year. I'll get you next year, Gronch. See if I don't.